What's going on, guys? Alex here, again back for another video. So recently the Salamangreats have just been released, a deck that I have been waiting for a long time, and it's now out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this deck in action and just me using this deck overall. I really think it's a great deck, really on a budget side, very budget friendly for all you people, because I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very expensive deck. A very expensive game altogether, so Salamangreats I think are an absolutely amazing deck for people on a budget. So without further ado, let's go into the video. Starting off with monsters, we have 3 copies of Salamangreat Gazelle. So this card is basically the best Salamangreat main deck monster in my opinion. The whole thing with this is when you link summon away a Salamangreat card, then you special summon Gazelle from your hand, and then you basically get to Foolish Burial any Salamangreat card from your deck to your graveyard. So, you know, you can send stuff like Spinny, you can sell Foxy, all these sorts of cards. So, 3 copies of Salamangreat Gazelle. This card's really good. Level 3 as well, so it helps us go into our Mirage Stallion as well. So, really good. Next monster. 3 copies of Salamangreat Spinny. This card overall is just an absolute amazing card in the deck. A really good synergy with Gazelle as well, because the whole thing with Spinny is it special summons itself for free back from the graveyard. I mean, you basically just target a Salamangreat card, it gains 500, and then, you know, when you discard it, and then you can just special summon the card back from the graveyard if you control another Salamangreat monster, which is just really good. I mean, it gets banished at the end, but it's a free special summon. There's nothing really wrong with that. Level 3 as well, so really good into going into Mirage Stallion, which is why we play, of course, 3 copies of it. Free special summon, very nice, very easy to use. 3 Salamangreat Foxy. This is the brand new card that I think was in either Soul Fusion or Savage Strike. This card is overall incredible. It's basically a normal summon effect. When it gets normal summoned, it's pretty much like a something like a Pot of Duality. It just, you know, you excavate the top 3, and then you get to add 1 card to your that's a Salamangreat card, and then the rest just get shuffled back in. And then the whole thing with it is if it's in a graveyard, like, and you have a spell trap card in the field, then you get to just basically special summon it back from the graveyard. A lot of the time, you're only going to be doing this if you have a Salamangreat Sanctuary on the field, but a lot of the time, it's even if it's just like any sort of card on the field, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to be fair, like, it pops spell and trap cards on the field as well, so it's really good when it special summons itself back from the grave. But, you know, you'll have Sanctuary, even if you have, like, say, Ghost and Match or Rivalry on the field, it'll still be able to come out on the from the graveyard onto the field. It's hard once per turn, as are all the Salamangreat cards like that. This is basically it. 1 Salamangreat Falco, and 1 Salamangreat Jaguar. Basically, the whole thing with these cards is they basically, like, Salamangreat Jaguar just is like a shuffle card. It recycles your cards and then basically special summons itself back from the from your field to the special summons itself from the graveyard to the field. It's just really good overall. And then Falco is just a little bit different, but the whole thing with Falco is just like you return a monster from your from the field to your hand, and then special summon it back from the graveyard. Nice and simple. A lot of the time, I noticed when I was using Falco, I was only using Falco to recycle, say, my Sunlight Wolf. But yeah, no, these 2 cards are just overall great. So that's it for our Salamangreat monsters. You guys are going to hate me. I hate using proxies, but I'm missing 1. 3 copies of Lady Debug. I'm missing 1 copy, and I will be getting 1 soon. But Lady Debug, this card is absolutely nuts. This card is basically the Stratos of your deck. You pretty much just normal summon her or special summon her, and then add a level 3 into your hand. So you basically just add something like Gazelle, and Gazelle will start off the plays from there. And then it can actually link itself away to go into your Salamangreat Balinx, and then you can just start plays off from there. So yeah, because Gazelle can special summon herself from your hand afterwards. So this is like the Stratos card of your deck. Very powerful. Must play 3 copies of the deck. And then onto some hand trap cards. Play 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Spring. I know the common one came out, but I'm still using the ultras. This card is actually recyclable now. You can actually add it back to your hand due to another card that we'll go into shortly. This card is absolutely fantastic in this deck because it's a fire at the same time, so it just makes it even better. And then there's one other hand trap I decided to max out on. People were playing like other hand traps are like just one or two, or just like not playing it at all. But I think this card is very, very important in the meta due to dangers, and that's 3 copies of Draw and Lockbird. If you play against dangers and you activate Draw and Lockbird, you can pretty much shut their plays down altogether. Very, very important card in today's format. If you're not playing it in the main deck, I'd recommend siding it at least, because against dangers, this completely just shuts it down. So 3 copies of Draw, 3 copies of Ash, very, very standard cards for hand traps. And then on to spell cards. We've got 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle. This card is like... This card is like absolutely nuts. Like, firstly, this is like a rotor. It searches any Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, which is obviously the main reason why you're going to be using it. I mean, to be fair, like the second effect is really good as well. And basically, if you link summon, if a monster's link summon, say off of like Salamangreat Sanctuary, so you've used the exact same material, you pretty much just get to protect it. It's going to be unaffected by it's going to just be completely unaffected by monster effects. So it's just really good overall. It's a rotor, and it makes cards untargetable and everything. So why wouldn't you want to play 3 copies? You'd play rotor at 3 if you could, but you can't. So 1 Salamangreat Sanctuary. This card's really important in the deck, but the only reason why we play 1 copy is because Balinks actually searches the card for you. So you don't need terraforming or any other shenanigans like that, because Balinks actually searches the card for you. So you really want to just use this card at 1. And this whole reason for using this card is because it actually just helps you use your go from your Salamangreat monsters. Say like you use your wolf, and you can actually use wolf to summon another wolf for free, just by using that wolf. So instead of using 2 link monsters, you're actually only using 1, which is the 1 wolf. And wolf actually triggers this effect when it's summoned off another wolf. Then what we have is 1 copy of Will of the Salamangreat. If you play during the days of agents and all that sort of stuff, and you remember Valhalla Hall of the Fallen, this card is very, very similar to Valhalla Hall of the Fallen. You get to basically special summon a Salamangreat from your hand or your graveyard. You don't always need it. Like, this is the only reason why I only play 1 copy. Some people aren't actually playing this card, but I just like playing it just because it's the free special summon. And then like the whole thing with the card as well is you can just pretty much just use the second effect, because if you target when you have a link summon monster with the same material, special summon 1 Salamangreat from your hand or graveyard in defense position. So basically, you're just pretty much just able to special summon like twice during your turn. It's a really powerful card, but you don't really need multiple copies. I only just like playing 1. 1 Foolish Burial, send cards to the graveyard. Not really much. It's just a staple, really. Then a few other cards. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Very standard card, actually. I mean, I think this should be played in nearly every single deck. Double Twin Twisters. This deck can be actually weak to back row, so I would say just max out. Maybe just play some Twin Twisters. If you want to just play 2, if you want to play 3, then play 3. If you want to play just 2, play 2. But that's just my opinion on it. 1 Upstart Goblin. I kind of just want the consistency, really, so I just play the 1 copy of Upstart Goblin just for a little bit of added consistency. And then we go over to our trap cards. 2 copies of Salamangreat Raw. This card is an absolute beast. Like, while you have your Salamangreat Link monster, you get to just negate a spell trap or monster effect. It's just crazy, because this is a quick trap at the same time, so it has more spell speed 3, I think. So that way, your opponent can't really chain it off unless they have something like a Judgment or like I think maybe Solemn Warning or something, or then they can't really negate this. Adding on to that, if you have a Salamangreat that's been used the same name as the material, you can pretty much just set this from your graveyard back to the field. So this is why I play 2 copies of it, because I love having negates, and negates are very, very important in this current format. And yes, it's a hard once per turn, but it's still a very, very effective card altogether. Really, really good card to play. People play 1, I think 2's like way better. So 2 copies of Salamangreat Rage. Again, this is a card that people play 1 of, and sometimes I've seen a few people play 2 in like other deck profiles, but I personally think playing 2 is just really, really good, because the whole thing of this card is like you get to either discard a card from your hand or field and send a graveyard, and you get to just target a card on the field and then destroy it. It's just plain and simple like that. And then like the same effect, it has like another effect that's kind of similar. So basically, like if you say use something like Sunlight Wolf to summon out another Sunlight Wolf, then you basically you basically get to just destroy more cards depending on the link rating. So say if you have a Heat Leo on the field, and it's got, of course, Heat Leo has 3 arrows, you get to destroy 3 cards if you summon it off the same one. But of course, in this deck I'm only playing 1 Heat Leo, so it won't happen. So it's basically just Sunlight Wolf, really. So Salamangreat Rage is just a really, really broken card. I think playing 2 is really good. Then over to some Floodgates. 2 copies of Rivalry and 2 copies of Gozen. These cards are overall just brilliant. Gozen, of course, got the really nice reprint. Of course, I had 2 others, but the other ones are just completely knackered. But these cards are really good. All your monsters are Cyburst, and they're all fire, apart from your hand traps, but that's different. So because of these, you really, really can do well against other decks. I mean, I know Gozen completely can shut down Thunders and just prevent them from having a Titan and a Colossus on the field. And Rivalry is just really good at stopping dangers, because they're all just different types. Sure, they're all dark, so Gozen really doesn't work against them, but Rivalry really shuts them down, which is just really important overall. So I really think these are really good overall to play. If you want to only stick to 1, then stick to 1. But it's similar to why I play Twin Twisters, actually, because this deck is very, very weak to there can only be 1, and there can only be 1 really shuts this deck down, so you don't want to risk seeing that. Onto the extra deck, 2 copies of Salamangreat Mirage Stalio. This card is basically like a MX Saber Invoker for the deck. It's pretty much just you detach a piece and then you special summon Salamangreat from your deck in defense position. I mean, you're restricted to only playing to only summoning fires for the rest of the turn. But at the same time, it's still really, really good card. Otherwise, like if this could just pretty much summon anything, then this would just be broken as hell. So because of that, yeah, you basically do this. And then the second effect, people really forget, and I tell you what, do not forget this, because this will shut down Thunders altogether. If it's sent from the field to the graveyard as link material, you can bounce a card, you can target and bounce a monster on the field back to that hand. So this against Thunders, because Thunders can protect themselves from being destroyed, this isn't a destroy, this is just a return. So use this card effectively, and you can just get rid of problem cards on the field with like straight like that. I mean, even against like Kagari or like Sky Striker, you're pretty much just forcing your opponent to tag their cards out, so they're wasting resources. So it's just really good overall. Okay, again, similar to what with Lady Debug, I'm missing 1 copy. I'd be playing 3 Sunlight Wolves. So just imagine there's a Sunlight Wolf here. This card's absolutely fantastic. This card just is. Like, the whole thing with it is just like, this actually helps recycle your hand traps as well. Like, hand trap is in Ash Blossom. It just helps recycle it, because you basically, when a monster is a Salamangreat, is special summoned to where it points to, you get to, you basically just get to special summon, you basically get to add a 5 from your graveyard to your hand. So imagine you've used Ash Blossom already, you basically get to recycle Ash Blossom straight back to your hand, and you can use it again next turn. Really, really, really good. Also, at the same time, when you link summon it with like for the same thing, so you use Sanctuary to summon out another Sunlight Wolf, then what you do is you just get to add a Salamangreat spell trap from your deck to your deck to your hand. So it's just overall really, really good card. So I'd be playing 3 if I had the 3rd one here, but I will be getting the 3rd one soon. I'm just missing that one, so for the time being I'm just playing 2. I've just got 2, but yeah, there would be 3 here. 3 Balinks. This card is absolutely fantastic. So the whole thing with Balinks is it actually is a protection card at the same time as a search card. When you link it away, if you use, say, Debug, you get to just add your Sanctuary, and Sanctuary is so important in this deck, but the only reason why we're only playing 1 Sanctuary is because it's searchable off this, and you really need to play 3 copies of this, because the amount of times that you'll go into this card is absolutely ridiculous. you'll use this card so many times, and of course, like playing just three copies is just the best thing to do. So don't play two. Same thing as well as like after searching for your sanctuary, when it goes to graveyard due to like a link summon, the whole thing with it is it can actually protect your monsters from being destroyed by battle. So when it's in the graveyard, you can just banish this card, and then all of a sudden it's protected from battle. So it's just really, really powerful in general. So that's why you play 3 copies. Other cards, 1 copy of Salamangreat Heat Leo. This card is actually really, really good. So the whole thing was when it's summoned, you can just like bounce a monster in the spell trap zone, and then just bounce back. So you just bounce the card back. I would actually maybe play 2, but I don't really think playing 2 is good. I think that when testing this, I went into this card like a good few times, but I didn't really think I'd be going into it multiple times. I never thought I would, and I never did. So I think playing 1 is just really good. So the only thing that the second effect does when it gets summoned off itself again is just like an attack booster. It just increases its attacks. You don't really need to play 2 copies. I think 1 is absolutely fine of just spinning cards back. Onto some other cards. In my opinion, this deck struggles with destruction a lot of the time, so I play 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix for similar reasons like protection, battle, and getting rid of back row, and the 1 Unicorn. So of course Nightmare package is really, really powerful in this. I really think that it's just this package is just great. It's great in every deck really, so not really much to say about it. Other cards, 1 Summon Sorceress. I actually go into Summon Sorceress occasionally. I realised myself that this card's really important. So by playing 1 Summon Sorceress, you just you just play the game. And I'm thinking of maybe maining cherries. Well, not maining, siding cherries in this deck. I'm not showing you side deck, but like if you play cherries, you can actually just like completely counter out Summon Sorceress plays. And of course, like in a mirror match, you can just get rid of like some important resources in the extra deck that you will restrict your opponent from playing. And then the last 2 cards, 1 Borreload Dragon, 1 Boral Sword. Again, a huge shout out to my friend Joel for helping me get this. Really good. So yeah, these 2 are just really good in my opinion in this format against Thunders. This card is very, very important. Borreload and Boral Sword's mainly just there for OTKs. Again, like the only time you're not going to go, like if you're making Boral Sword plays, do not go into this. Do not go into it because this is not a fire type. This is a dark, so you know you're going to be restricted. Anyway, that's it for this deck profile. If you enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Leave your opinion on what that you think of this, but remember, just use this as a guide. Use this as an opinion. Again, I'm not playing the fusion in this because I don't really think that I need it. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Anyway, my name is Alex. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to smash that thumbs up. Leave a like if you did. And yeah, au revoir.